Good morning. Thank you for attending. Please forgive me, my Korean is not very good, so they told me that I can do this session in English today. I hope that's okay. They've also told me to speak a little slower because I get so excited about the opportunities that are here in the industry around the Internet of Things and IoT specifically. My name is Rodney Clark, and I have the privilege of working with over 9,000 partners in the device ecosystem, partners that build solutions every single day from the edge of a network all the way through a cloud-connected scenario to managing information and data that sits within the enterprise. There are many definitions of the Internet of Things and IoT, and my team has the, again, privilege of connecting with many, again, from device all the way through to enterprises in how we manage and scale this great opportunity in front of us. What I wanted to do is talk a little bit about the Internet of Things and the industry, and specifically how we think about what's happening in IoT today. There are a lot of pieces of data and information that talk to you about ways that you should get started within IoT. There are so many opportunities to jump in, but the confusion really comes in, what value do you add as a company? Who do I partner with? To what extent do I make investments? And I wanted to cover some of that with you today. But before doing that, I wanted to get us all grounded on the set of information and data that's driving this phenomena that we call the Internet of Things. All of us are familiar with this information and data, and hopefully this is not new to any of you here in the audience, but it's worth repeating again just to set the foundation for the opportunity. Gartner says that by 2020, we'll have over 25 billion connected things. That's a lot of devices, which means a tremendous amount of opportunity. IDC says the market, from a standpoint of devices to services, is over $1.7 trillion. How do we make $1 million in a market that's over $1.7 trillion? McKinsey, and I'll come back to McKinsey in just a second, says that more than 70% of the value will come in B2B scenarios. So while we hear a lot about the consumer trends in IoT, more than 2/3 of it sits within B2B. If we think about where we were just 5 or 6 years ago with devices and experiences, they were disconnected. There were separate experiences that you had on your alarm clock that woke you up every morning, that you set at night, a different set of componentry, a different set of runtime scenario on that than on your microwave, than in the car that you were driving, or the security camera that was sitting outside of some business or corporation. All of these things existed, but they were disconnected because the hardware wasn't there, or the software development or the app experience wasn't there. If we fast forward then to just last year, and you think about the Internet of Things, and you think about the opportunity that's in front of us, there's this explosion of devices, an explosion of scenarios. And that's created because now we have common platforms of silicon that are enabling device builders to use the same basic framework to extend a scenario from a fitness band all the way through to a point of sale, using some of the same technologies. These experiences are now bound together with applications, things that we use and leverage on our phones, or applications that are written within the enterprise. Bring all of these common experiences together. That's why we have so many devices, that it's so easy. The cost of hardware is so low. The pervasiveness of connectivity is here, enabling all these new experiences on different scenarios from consumer to business. And so when we talk about the change that's happened, while we've always had the alarm clock, now we can build that same alarm clock That's connected to how many hours of sleep that we've gotten each night. That's connected to our doctor who can give us information about sleep deprivation or different medications that we can take. That's the power of IoT and the power that connectivity brings to this. Getting back to the McKinsey study for just a second, this is also important to just reconnect on. There are 3 points in this study that are important, at least for this discussion today. If you haven't read or seen the net output of the McKinsey information, I'd encourage you to go take a look, because it really does paint an end-to-end picture of the opportunity that sits within IoT. I talked earlier about 70% of the business. It's in the upper left corner there. 2x more value from B2B applications than consumer. So while we're driven each day by the smartwatches, the health monitors, the wearables, more than 2/3 of the opportunity sits within enterprise scenarios or B2B. And that's really important for us as we look as an ecosystem on how we monetize to ensure that we understand that point. The next point that's important, it says interoperability is required to capture 40% of the total value. Interoperability for us means 2 things, for us as a company. It means the ability to have a common experience across your devices, common screens. Windows brings a lot of that value. It also means open standards to connect to other device experiences, like OCF, for those who are familiar with some of the announcements over the last couple of weeks in the Open Connectivity Foundation, and our work to basically create a scenario where we connect with any other device, be it on Microsoft technology or not. 40% of the value in IoT is linked to interoperability, and that's absolutely critical if you're investing in this scenario. There's another tremendous opportunity in the data and the analytics. You hear a lot about the data and the analytics. In fact, that $1.7 trillion that I mentioned earlier, more than 50% of that is from data and analytics. When you think about the opportunity there, we're tapping, as an industry and an ecosystem, less than 1% of that data today. Most of the data and information that's available that we focus on today is in break fix or anomaly detection. There's still 99% of opportunity in terms of the rich data and information that sits within these organizations. Opportunities for you to help drive that clarity to create new business models for the customers that you're working with. So that's really the foundation of IoT. If you think about it, it creates an opportunity for us, for each of us in the industry, around driving traditional categories. Your strength, if you're a point of sale manufacturer, if you are a medical device builder, if you're a systems integrator or an ISV, whatever your core traditional strengths are, there's that opportunity for you. There's also the opportunity to create new categories and new scenarios, given the connectivity and the fact that you're connecting experiences across devices and bridging consumer to business is an opportunity to create new categories that have never before existed in this space. And we see companies popping up every day that are doing just that. New business models. Some of you are traditional component distributors. To what extent can you add services integration or systems integration to that? Winning IoT opportunities anymore is not just being a device builder, but it's being a device builder who can also build applications, or at least partner with someone, an ISV, who can build applications. And that's the new business model that we talk about here. And I'll close on this slide to give you some very specific points and opportunities for you to manage moving forward. In a mobile-first, cloud-first environment, which is what Microsoft is all about, it's really the device that brings and defines experiences together for consumers, for businesses, and IT professionals. At Microsoft, our value is clear. We have these 2 tremendous assets, in Windows being the best platform available, and in Azure being the best cloud-connected scenario, the best cloud platform. When we bring these two things together, it gives us an opportunity to participate in IoT from end to end. From device, again with Windows and that secure platform, extending all the way through the consumption of cloud-based services. When we think about Windows, specifically in IoT, Microsoft as a company has been in this space for over 20 years. You think about our embedded business and the growth and success that we've seen in that business over the years. Well, you combine that tradition and history and you look now at Windows, specifically Windows 10, and the fact that it's now one core, one unified platform creating experiences across all device types. It now allows us to scale from our smallest IoT headless device all the way up through our heaviest compute device, be it point of sale, medical, or other. Windows, a great value for us from an IoT perspective. Azure, from a cloud perspective. Easy to provision, easy to use, and easy to manage. It allows us to incorporate a pay-as-you-go or scale-as-you-go scenario. So not just leveraging the data and the analytics, but really leveraging Azure as a backbone for your cloud applications, for porting your existing applications that create business value directly into the cloud, and leveraging the end-to-end security and privacy of things like remote monitoring, the Azure IoT services that scale into a true services solution and services scenario. And it also gives us an opportunity to have a value prop that extends beyond just Windows. While we believe that Windows and Azure IoT are the great and most secure and scalable solution together, Azure, from an IoT perspective, also gives us the opportunity to scale on non-Windows devices. Leveraging those investments that enterprises have made, this notion of enterprise, the Internet of Your Things, leveraging the things that you already have, be they on Microsoft platform or Linux or Android, and creating a cloud-connected scenario. Again, Windows and Azure really end-to-end complete our value proposition in IoT for Microsoft. Let me talk a little bit about Windows IoT, and specifically Windows. Now, we're excited about Windows because it is truly one platform. Windows 10 was built to scale again from our largest device to our smallest. You have the same experience whether you are building for a PC, a phone, or a small headless device or a gateway scenario. That's the power of Windows IoT, specifically Windows 10, and that's the power of Windows 10 for IoT. It extends the same security and connectivity that you see in our largest all the way to smallest. Michael King will come up and spend a little more time later going into Windows 10 IoT. I wanted to just tee up at a high level when we double click into the IoT scenario. We have three basic IoT editions. We have the Enterprise Edition, which brings us the same features and functionality of Windows 10 Enterprise, but allows for things like lockdown capability, right gesture controls, port lock and things like that. We then extend into Windows IoT Mobile, which is extending the value proposition into handhelds, portable tablets, and we have many partners that are on this journey along with us. I see some folks from Bluebird here today, as well as many other partners who are building handheld and mobile solutions on Windows IoT Mobile Enterprise. This also extends into our ARM chipsets and our ARM partnerships. And then we have IoT Core, which again is the same value prop, the same connectivity and security of Windows, but without a shell. Allows you to take advantage and maximize the same APIs, but then really build a solution and scenario that's on a small device that allows you to extend into additional scenarios that we've never been able to get to before with a Windows image. So we're really excited about our Windows 10 IoT editions for devices. I'll talk again about the universal platform. And it's worth noting here that, and this is really to reemphasize this notion that we have a converged set of APIs that allows us to really write one universal app. And so if you're a developer wondering how do you maximize your value across the different versions of Windows, well, you only have to write the scenario once. And then it scales all the way up or down. If you're writing for a PC scenario, a mobile scenario, you can basically package that same set of investments, reusing your existing development skills, and create an IoT solution or scenario. That's really the power of being on one platform, and that's really the benefit of scaling Windows across all of your scenarios and across all of your devices. Again, Michael will talk a little bit more about that in just a second. I want to shift gears for a few minutes and talk about Azure IoT. I mentioned earlier this combination of Windows and Azure truly being Microsoft's approach to our end-to-end IoT, from device and platform through the cloud connectivity. The Azure IoT suite provides a comprehensive solution where we can connect to millions of devices, be they Windows or other. Accelerates time to value. Getting started with the investments that you already have, leveraging some of the analytics that are already taking place within organizations, and giving customers and partners simple and easy to use package services to do things like, again, remote monitoring, to manage analytics and other capabilities. We have a growing partner network of people who are familiar with these set of services that can help scale an enterprise solution. This is the power and benefit of scaling services through Azure and through Microsoft. If I continue to go on around Azure IoT suite, it really is about scaling with efficiency. When you get into a typical scenario, any scenario, we know that they are mixed environments. We'd love it, by the way, if every single IoT or every single environment that you walked into was 100% Windows and 100% on our cloud, but we know that that's not the case, right? And so connecting and scaling with efficiency, that's what the Azure IoT suite is all about. Allowing us to have conversations around real-time operating systems in general, be they Microsoft or not, and finding the right cloud-connected scenario that we can then take and extend a set of analytics, build a set of dashboards and visualizations to manage and monitor all the information that's coming in, and then allowing us to connect that to existing business processes, be they the productivity scenarios that are enriched through Office 365 or other back-end scenarios that are connected to companies like SAP and Oracle. Azure is really that glue that allows us to scale, again, end-to-end and create that efficiency regardless of the platform investments. And so it really is a key benefit for us, and it really completes our story and message in IoT. There's one other thing that I want to talk about with respect to IoT. Specifically, when you're looking at building a set of capabilities and you're creating and building devices, we're always, again, pleased when that platform of choice is Windows. More and more importantly, the devices, if you go back to that slide that I showed in the 2015 device landscape, all of these are now connected scenarios. And what our customers, our collective customers, are asking us for is a way not only to have a secure platform on the device, but they want an easy, out-of-the-box solution that allows them to connect directly to the cloud, that allows them to get information in to start analyzing and managing the data that's created in the enterprise. The Azure Certified for IoT program is exactly that. It's a program that allows partners to pre-test their offerings on Azure Certified for IoT or on Azure IoT. This is a set of SDKs and open libraries that any device builder can test on their devices and go through the process of becoming Azure certified for IoT. Now, the reason that that's important is because the program showcases partners who have gone through this certification. So imagine the power of having, a Windows platform along with an Azure certified for IoT. It differentiates your offerings. It allows you to market your offerings along with Microsoft, as well as extend to any other joint industry opportunities where we talk about a connected device and scenario. So we're really pleased to have this offering. And in just a few short months, we have over 70 partners that have certified their devices for Azure IoT. Again, the power of that in Windows, phenomenal. The power of just the certification, even on a non-Windows device, allows us to partner more directly together as we look at those connected scenarios. So with that, let me get to the business partnership and opportunities. And I mentioned earlier that I would come back to this. And this is important. You go back to the 25 billion connected devices, and you think about the $1.7 trillion of opportunity. These are all large numbers. Where do you start? I talked about traditional categories. And this is a platform statement as much as anything. There are opportunities for you to continue to build the types of devices and solutions that you're building today. And we want to continue to do that and find ways to monetize those scenarios. We can do that together. It's creating new categories. If I look at my last 5 industry wins, when I review opportunities with my team, I think about, was it a device-led win? Was it a services-led win? Was it an application or an experience that actually, drove the customer to actually implement an IoT solution? This notion in the middle of creating new categories says that you really have to be focused on all 3 of those things. When I look at my last 5 wins, 4 of them have come from ISVs who were looking to partner with device builders. They had a great solution that they had written either in UWP, Universal Windows Platform, or a great solution that they had written in Azure Cloud as a software as a service extension. And they went out and sought a hardware partner to come and complete the hardware portion of it. That's about creating new categories as well as creating new business models. Finding ways to actually monetize from that, be it from integration services, be it from a set of dashboards that allow you to analyze the data and information, either building those or selling the consulting services and capabilities on how to do that. All of these are opportunities that exist for every single person in this room. My hope is that you'll partner with Microsoft as you explore these different opportunities. And what I'd like to do now is hand it over to Michael, who will walk into more depth around the Windows 10 opportunity. Thank you so much.